Hey guys, it's Luis Alcaraz, and I have been working so hard tonight to prepare a video for you guys. But before we get into the video, I am kind of upset because nobody has subscribed to my channel. I don't have any subscribers. So if any of you are interested, please subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I get a lot of views from this video. Also, today is my birthday, so I hope you guys wish me a happy birthday. The title of this video I'm going to be making is called My Experience After Taking Risperdal for 18 years and invega sustena for 6 months, the wonderful medication. Coming up, you guys. Whew. Alright, guys, so I was a normal child until I became 5 or 6 years old. Alright. And let me tell you a story as I was physically abused in kindergarten by one of my teachers and one of my staff. I'm not going to get into the story because it is my privacy right and it's private information. And although my mom and teachers were worried because I was starting to have behaviors because of the trauma I had had at school. And it really did affect my whole life. And so I started taking risperdal. Now, before they started me on risperdal, they tried thousands of medications. They've tried antidepressants, all right? They've tried they tried a lot of medications. They've tried antidepressants, they've tried anticonvulsants or antidiazepines, what they call them. They've tried some of the antipsychotics, and I do know that Cyprexa I cannot take. I had a reaction to it. So when I was about 6 years old, I started taking risperdal, which is a typical antipsychotic, all right? And in 2008, 2009, 2011, they gave me all these stupid diagnoses. They've always told me I have autism, I have bipolar disorder, I have Tourette's, I have OCD. In my opinion, I don't believe myself as autistic. I'm very smart and very intelligent, and I don't believe that. But before they diagnosed me with autism, in 2008 and all those mental diagnoses that I do not believe. They started me off on a super tiny dose of risperdal. When I say tiny, they typically start you off like on 0.5, but they started me off like on half of a tablet of 0.25. So I was taking 0.12 milligrams, which is a super tiny dose. As I got older, they slowly increased the dose. By the time I was in my early 20s, I was taking the highest dose, and before I even continued with risperdal my whole life. The story I was telling you previously about going, trying all the medications. They tried antidepressants, antidiazepines, some of the antipsychotics, and none of them never worked. They went back and forth on those medications several times, and none of them seemed to work. So they just continued with the risperdal. All right, so it was kind of back and forth on medication a lot. By the time I was in my lower 20s, guys, I was on the highest dose of risperdal, which was 6 milligrams. But at that point, it was causing a lot of side effects. One day, I was having lunch at the table. It was just myself. And I was having a reaction. I was having trouble swallowing my food. My lips felt like were starting to swell. My face was starting to paralyze. I was like my muscles began to become super rigid. I felt like my face was swelling, like it was starting to paralyze, and I felt really scared. I mean, we had to call the nurse, but I didn't have to go to the hospital because after a few hours it went away, and that's why we thought it was a food allergy. But the nurses were like, "Oh, this is a serious reaction. No more. He can't take no more medication. He needs to stop immediately." But because I was taking the medication for so long and a dose so high like that, they had to slowly discontinue it because you know what happens, like if you're taking a super high dose and then they abruptly discontinue the medication, you're gonna have a relapse in your symptoms in a big way. But they did have to discontinue the medication like in a week, which is pretty darn quick for I was taking that medication for so long and on such a high dose. but because of the reaction, we weren't quite sure if it was a food allergy or if it was the medication itself. I stopped the risperidone for about a year, all right? But I was getting into trouble. I was like in hospitalization. I was at CRC and even worse trouble, but I don't want to really talk about it because again, it's my right of privacy. Now, but there was always a problem because once I got out of hospitalization or CRC, I never wanted to take the medication because I had that trauma that if I took the medication, I was going to have that same reaction. And you know, it was pretty scary. Um, it was always because me and my mom always bumped into each other several times because I would take the medication for like a day or two. But then in my own mind, I was like, I'm starting to feel side effects. I'm not going to take it because I always had the trauma that if I take it, I was going to have that same reaction that I had, which was pretty scary. And my mom and me always bumped into each other because she was like, Louis, every morning or every evening, she was like, Louis, did you take your medication? Did you take your tablets? Oh my gosh, I mean, it was pretty stressful. And I bet that many parents have been through this situation and they've tried several doctors and several medications until you're able to find the right one. So then me and the provider decided to switch over to invega sustena, which is a monthly injection you receive every 28 days. People say 30 days, but it's really every 28 days you get the injection. So I got my loading doses in my glutes, which were 234 and 156. A month later, I got a dose of 78 milligrams. That dose was really not helping much. I was still going back to CRC like once or twice. So then a couple months later, they increased to 117. The 117 milligrams was helping more. It increased my memory, my energy, but I was still having certain ups and downs. Like at one moment, I could feel really focused, energized, and positive, but then the next moment, I felt agitated, depressed, like super depressed or aggressive or, impulsive. So then, actually, 2 months later, after being on 117 for 2 months, I decided to stop the medication completely because I told myself, you know what? My behaviors are psychological. I can control myself. I don't believe I'm autistic. I'm too intelligent. And it was kind of true because I stopped the medication for about a month. And I was able to control myself and my impulses. I didn't go back to hospitalization. But I do notice that when I am off the medication, instead of feeling more energized and, you know, I feel kind of the positive. I mean, the opposite. Because when I'm on the medication, I see a lot of positive. When I go off the medication, I'm kind of the opposite from most people. For some reason, when I go off the medication, I start to feel like a relapse in my, like, more dry mouth, more groggy because of the lack of sleep, more tired, more fatigue, more anxiety. It's just like, I guess my body is just used to taking the medications for so long. So then, 1 month later, I was having a little relapse in my symptoms, so I went back on the invega sustena. And so then I started, because I was only off for a month with the medication, I started off on a dose of 156, 1 week apart. So 1 week I took 156, the next week I took the same dose. But this time, however, I got it in my deltoid, which is my upper arm muscle. Again, though, I've been telling everybody my behaviors are psychological. I don't want to take the medication, but I haven't completely decided. But I might continue the medication because, guys, I have seen huge positives with the medication. And I'm going to say it once and I'm going to say it twice. It's really your choice. YouTubers don't have to take the medication, but if you are struggling from mental conditions such as bipolar, anxiety, or schizophrenia, I recommend you guys at least try the drug, right? Because I know that most YouTubers are there like, don't try invega. It's a stupid drug that causes too many stupid side effects. Like, don't do it. Don't try it. Don't do it. It causes sexual dysfunction. It causes tardive dyskinesia. It causes akathisia. They start just saying negative stuff because everybody's different. For some people, invega causes huge benefits. and I'm one of them, and I am about to share the experience. I'm going to get into the positives now. I have seen with this new dose of invega sustena, because I am on the 6th month of taking invega. Number one, I do not get sexual dysfunction from this medication. Which most of you here, if you guys hear this on the video, you're going to be pretty excited, because for some people and for most people, you do get sexual dysfunction from this drug. The other day I was in my room, and I did notice a pretty big amount of like semen, but I'm not really going to talk about it because it's privacy. But for me, I can produce semen just fine. Number two, it makes me think more clearly, increases energy, memory, and alertness, meaning I can think more clearly. It's like nothing's stopping me from doing daily activities and feeling more positive about myself. Increases my memory. I feel like really enthusiastic about myself. And the other thing I've noticed with this medication is that it's weird, because the medication makes a lot of people drowsy, but for me, it makes me feel like if I wasn't on the medication, because I have so much energy. But it's different, because how do I explain it? Like, it makes me feel like if I wasn't on the medication, but it's a positive kind of energy. It's not like the kind of energy where I'm getting into trouble. Like, I feel like if I wasn't on the medication, but like the positive kind of energy. So that's kind of the thing we want to see. Number four, I have seen that this medication makes me control my mental temper. Meaning, when I started noticing the last week or two, meaning, like if I start to have an impulse, like I get angry at someone, or I raise my voice, or I become rude, I tell myself, did I really just do this? I mean, I'm sorry if I did that. Did I really just do the right thing, or did I really do the wrong thing? Like, it makes me think more clearly about how I'm acting. And that's kind of what it's supposed to do, is make you think more clearly. Because it reduces dopamine in the brain. It increases dopamine. Anyways, got a little off topic there. And the other thing I've noticed with the invega is that when I've gone to the doctor, my vitals are in normal range, meaning my heart rate, my oxygen, my blood pressure are in excellent conditions. So it really stabilizes my whole system. Last but not least, and this is part of the thing, this is the main one I am a little bit discouraged about, but I'm not going to blame it on the medication, is I've gained a tiny bit of weight. When I say a little bit or a tiny bit, like 8 or 9 pounds. Again, I'm having a super high diet in sodium, salt, and fat, and sugar. So meaning I can eat a bunch of orange chicken, or ice cream, hot fudge, or pizza, or nachos, or like deep fried foods. All of those things have sodium, sugar, and fat. So I'm not going to blame it on the medication. Although I do know that weight gain is a potential side effect of invega sustena. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Bye-bye. I feel really enthusiastic. Oh my God.